F1 heads back across the Atlantic on June 15th for the highly anticipated Canadian Grand Prix at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. After a brief European break, the race arrives at a critical juncture in the 25 Championship. It's going to be a very interesting weekend. It's a unique circuit, really, isn't it? So the focus for local fans will undoubtedly be on Aston Martin driver Lance Stroll, who withdrew from the Spanish Grand Prix with a right wrist injury. Following the Barcelona qualifying session, he immediately sought medical treatment with the same guy who it was in 2023, a specialist in the MotoGP field. And despite his initial wrist injury, Stroll notably finished 6th in the opening Bahrain Grand Prix. And he's back here, which is great to see, because obviously you don't want to see him missing his home race. And really intrigued to see how Lance can do. Hopefully it'll be a clean weekend for him. And obviously just as well for Aston Martin, because it's likely Drugovich and Van Dorn would have been unavailable. Obviously due to them on this weekend. So the Canadian Grand Prix arrives at a critical juncture for the World Championship as well. McLaren, the Constructors' Championship's pretty much over, isn't it? 362 points compared to Ferrari's 165. But Piastri and Norris occupy the top two divisions with just 10 points between them. Max Verstappen may see this as an opportunity to bounce back after obviously that really disappointing race, third in the championship. He's won the last 4 Spanish Grand Prix, I believe it is. So he'll be really looking to get a win this weekend to maybe just keep him in the hunt for the world title. The Canadian Grand Prix is held at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, though, a challenging venue celebrated for its high speed sections and tight chicanes. The track layout often leads to unpredictable races, of course the most famous of that being Jenson Button, but that can't happen now. There's obviously a 120-minute time limit, obviously the race itself is 70 laps. Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher both have 7 victories at this circuit, and Lewis Hamilton will go for an unprecedented 8th this weekend. Obviously it's going to be tough considering his struggles at Ferrari, but let's not forget it is one of his favourite races here, and he'll be really looking for a positive weekend on a track that maybe he's more comfortable with and Leclerc's not as comfortable with. It's going to be an interesting one, but obviously at the moment you'd say Ferrari, I don't know, arguably have the 4th fastest car, and it's probably their drive lineup which moving them up. But it's going to be an interesting weekend. Obviously an evening one in European. I love an evening weekend. So bring it on. And what we saw in Friday practice this weekend was in FP1, a huge crash with Charles Leclerc. Just looked like he took far too much speed in the corner. That cost him, and basically left him on the back foot with no Friday running. But Max Verstappen was fastest in practice 1. Williams looking particularly strong in both practice sessions, and then Russell topping in practice 2. But McLaren not quite on the pace, especially Piastri seemed to struggle. But Mercedes power cars, I think, were the top 7 in practice 2. So that'll be intriguing whether they're sandbagging or not. Red Bull's pace seems to go away in FP2, and Hamilton looks kind of be struggling a bit again. Before I go, I'm going to give my predictions for this weekend. I'm still going to say it'll be McLaren. They always seem to turn it round on a Saturday, and I'm going to say it'll be Piastri who comes away with the victory. And then I'm going to say it will be he wins the race as well, with Norris coming home in 2nd. And I think Max Verstappen could come home in 3rd. I think he really does suit the circuit, but at the same time I just don't feel like they're going to have quite the pace to stick it to the McLaren guys. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share and subscribe. Follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily F1 news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.